Welcome to the Go Flush Yourself podcast with Jared Kirk and Matt Milbauer. All right, welcome to another episode of the Go Flush Yourself podcast. As usual, I'm joined by Jared, my co-host. Hey, Jared, how's it going?
Doing good. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, doing pretty good. We done a few hunts lately, not together. We spent opening day together, which I know we've talked about in a previous episode, but done a few things, and it's kind of, for me at least, I think you have some too. It's kind of raised some topics that kind of wanted to talk about here. So, kind of first, I went out. So I'm a weekend warrior, I guess, with hunting, working a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 kind of job. So was able to go out on Saturday with a new friend of mine. Met through a Pheasants Forever chapter, and ended up living around the corner from me. We've been talking pheasant hunting and stuff, especially getting ready for the season, and we're able to connect and get out to a spot he likes to go to that I had not been to before. Had a great time. Didn't get any birds, but it was a good time. Seeing a new spot, hunting with someone new. It was a lot of fun. The cover was really thick at that one spot, as expected. I think I knew that going into it. It was like kind of like one big, try not to hotspot at all, one big location. So I brought both spaniels out with me, and they were fine. I have noticed a lot more this season. I noticed it last season little, because now Sophie's 3 and Bridget's 2, so like 3.5 and 2.5. And where Bridget kind of glides around looking for scent and kind of checking some, I guess I'll call it objectives, checking bushes and cover here and there, and then kind of zeroing in on scent. Sophie likes to get kind of crazy, and Jerry, you've probably seen this from our opening day, where she just wants to get into thick cover and our army crawl through, which is much appreciated, but I think it's a lot for her, because after the hunt that night, she was like limping on her front left paw, nothing crazy, and I checked over, gave her a bath, had to brush her out super well. There's a bunch of foxtails in her fur. I tried to keep her out of the foxtail bushes, but she wanted to go check them out. But so she was fine. No, nothing on her paw, no cuts, no torn pads, no ripped toenails, no nothing. My guess was it was just sore. I was hoping it was just sore. And so the next day, Sunday, my brother and I went out to some other land, and he brought his 2 labs, and I brought my springers, but I was not going to hunt Sophie. I just kind of brought her with me, so the family didn't have to take care of her during the day while I was gone. I could just keep her in the back of the truck. It was nice weather, and not too hot, not too cold, and she could chill out in the back of the truck while we hunted, and then kind of walk around and go to the bathroom, that kind of thing in between hunts. One thing that was my dogs are I'm not sure how Bones is, Jared, but both springers are very, very quiet mannered in the house, and not a lot of barking, not a lot of whining, not a lot of howling or anything like that. They're pretty quiet girls. But I have been alternating the dogs. I did an opening day with you. Yeah. And on I actually got 2 stories about this. So on Sunday, I take Bridget out first. I leave Sophie in the kennel. Sophie has no qualm with that. She just chilling in the kennel, laying there, looking totally content and comfortable. Like, all right, fine by me. I'll hang out in here. You take Bridget. And then Bridget went out. Got 2 birds on that trip. Missed one, but the one I missed, I think I ended up getting. I think one of the 2 was the one that I missed. If that makes sense. I missed one. It flew away. Kind of in that area, and I think I flushed it up again and shot it. Not 100% sure, but I think that's what happened. Came back with Bridget, had 2 roosters, very happy, and went to another spot, kind of drove around to another parking area, and Sophie was just crying when I left with Bridget that time. It's like in her mind, she knew, okay, now it's my turn. Right. And as much as I've never heard her like this before, she's howling and crying, the saddest thing ever. as I walked away with Bridget, left her in the truck. I felt bad, but I wasn't gonna. I wanted to let her heal up. So
Yeah.
maybe it was torture that I brought her with me, but maybe it was good for her. She could learn that howling doesn't get you hunting. It didn't work
Right.
for her, so she didn't hunt the whole day. But yeah, had a good day. Ended up getting a limit of birds, which is 3 roosters in Washington. Wild birds, which is awesome. We have our pen raised birds in some of the state lands, and if you hit those days just right, limiting's not the hardest thing in the world if your dogs are out there doing their thing. Even if you don't have dogs, sometimes it's not that hard on those birds. But wild birds, that was very, very exciting. In fact, the last bird I got, it was about, it was really close to the truck. Like where I was like pretty much thinking, okay, we're done. Like I was almost to the point where I was unloading the gun, like almost to there.
Right.
And then Bridget put up one of the biggest roosters I've ever shot. Tail feathers were not the longest, but body wise, this was like the breasts on the bird when I cleaned it were like chicken breasts from the store that have been like GMO'd. I don't know, like you know what I mean, like big.
No, that rooster was huge.
Huge. The other two like normal sized.
Yeah.
And in the picture I posted online, and it's hard to tell because it's a little bit of optical illusion on the tailgate there. But yeah, he was huge, just huge, mature. His neck had a big white stripe, huge spurs.
Yeah.
But I shot it, and that was limit. And Bridget went over to it, and I went over and picked it up, and I gave out a yell like yes, and then Bridget, who's also very quiet, just starts jumping up on her hind legs and barking. Like it looked in my brain, I'm gonna call it this. It was celebratory. Like she knew, like I think she was feeling off my excitement. I was so excited that she was also kind of celebrating, or just like, hey, Dad's excited, I'm gonna start barking. I don't know, but it was cool because she did that. But yeah, walked away with the limit in that huge bird. Yeah, huge. And when I opened it up too, there was no damage to the breasts really at all. So that was cool because they're huge. One more thing, Jerry, before we kind of get into what you've been up to. The first bird, so I've been bringing Boss shells in one side of my pouch on my vest, and my old standby Kent Fast Steel 4s in my right side. And
right?
What was that?
Your 20 gauge, right?
20 gauge, yes, in my 20 gauge. Between 12 gauge and 20 gauge over the years, Kent's really never let me down.
Yep.
I am very attracted to the idea of a denser metal than steel. I've been non-tox for my entire adult life, I think. So I've been toying around with Boss. The first time I used it a year or two ago, I can't recall. I did the beginning of last season. I shot at a rooster that got up at very close range, maybe like 15 yards, and missed it twice as it flew away from me. And that was one of the pen raisers, I'm pretty sure, on state land. So I'm like, those birds aren't thick feather like. And I'm like, what the heck? That was with my older 12 gauge over under with 12 gauge shells. And so I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I used Boss again and didn't like it, and then switched over to Kent Fast Steel the rest of the season for that season. And then this season, I'm like, well, I'm gonna try this again. And I put 2 Boss in for this hunt on Sunday, and bird got up maybe 20 yards out. Easy. It was an easy shot. In fact, when I shot, in my brain, I was like, that's not a miss. Like, you know, when you shoot and you miss, like, oh, it's behind. Or like, you kind of know what you did wrong.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know how I missed that.
Right.
And 2 clean misses with the Boss. Like, no feathers drawn, bird didn't slow down, nothing. And I'm like, those are both, like, and my brain was telling me those are both, like, bird should have crumpled.
Right.
I think I've yet to hit anything with Boss at all. Small sample size, just me, but the 2 different guns, 2 different gauges. I switched to Kent after that, and then limited, right? I think I had 1 miss and 3 hits after that. But the one miss I followed up and hit.
Okay, so I have some questions.
Yes, I want to hear questions. It's probably user error. That's most likely the situation. But
Right.
yeah, these are questions.
So the questions like I have are, what chokes are you using in your PC? And then have you patterned Boss in your gun?
I have not patterned. I patterned Kent. I patterned nothing in my 20 gauge. I got it 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure.
Because I'm me. I haven't patterned that. I did pattern Boss. No, I patterned Kent Fast Steel in my old 12 gauge, the Maroki.
Sure.
A long time ago, but I was satisfied with what it looked like. But that was Kent Fast Steel 4s in my in that gun. I've not patterned, so that would be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else are you thinking?
And then what chokes are you running?
Oh yeah, road chokes. Modified improved cylinder.
Okay.
First shot improved cylinder. Second modified, I believe.
Okay. And then so follow-up question to that one. Which Boss shells are you shooting?
They are the original ones, not the whatever. What forgot the new one's called, the Chief something.
Not the War Chief. You're shooting the
OGs, yeah, the original ones.
The original ones.
Yeah, I've had them since they came out. Like when they got really popular, that's when I bought them. I'm gonna order some of those, try them out.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Like I've missed 4 clean whiffs with that shell, like easy shots. And every time I'm like, screw this, I'm going back to what I know.
Sure.
And I'm not one to I need to optimize to 100% perfection. That's not my goal. Like if I'm happy with what I'm doing in my hobby, then I'm happy. Work and that education, that kind of thing's different. But I don't mind keep using Kent. I'm disappointed that for me, in my small sample size, that Boss didn't live up to what I perceive as the hype.
Sure.
But I don't know. I'm gonna keep shooting my 4s. I tried some upland, some Kent Fast Steel upland 20 gauge last year. They are, I forgot the load, but the shot size are 5s. I think the load might have been lighter than their standard one, which has a duck in the box. I'm gonna call it the waterfowl one.
Yeah. I know which one.
Yeah, it's 4s to 5s. I think that's a lighter load. I don't know for sure, but I was missing with that too. Like end of the season, I could have been in a little shooting slump or had the yips or something at that point. Sure. I got my head a little bit at some point where I'm like, I just missed 2 pheasants in a row. Like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you kind of, people get that in sports and stuff too. So it could have been that. But as far as I know, at least maybe it's confidence. I don't know what it is, but Kent Fast Steel 4s, 20 gauge. That's my jam right now, and it has been for a long time.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyhow, so that's my current shell conundrum. Yeah, I swore off my 20 gauge. Not my 20. Sorry, I swore off my 12 gauge when on the opening day when I missed that bird. I felt where that was. I don't remember if that one was Boss. I had 2 clean misses there too on an easy shot. I don't remember if that was Boss. I can't credit that to Boss or not. Was it?
That was Boss. I remember.
Okay, so I missed 6 clean. That was an extremely easy shot. I've missed 6 times, 2 times per bird, 2 all very simple, easy shots that I have no problem making and have for however long I've been shooting a shotgun for, 25 years. I don't know what's going on. If someone out there has experience or is like, I know what you're missing, it's this, and that, or it's this. Boss, if you're out there and you're like, you're an idiot, here's what you need to do. You got to choke up or choke down or something. Let me know. I'd love to hear.
I think that's what's happening. I think if I remember right, I believe if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's a Boss Legacy shells. I believe they shoot well, each shotgun is kind of a rule unto itself anyways.
Sure.
And I think this year what you should probably do is after the season, just go pattern them.
Yeah.
Like kind of get like whatever you're like, just kind of do an average distance of what the birds you shot at were. Like let's just say 30 yards, and
Yeah.
just shoot it. I mean, it could be the fact that like maybe because the boss shells might have a slightly different point of impact than your cant fastials based on velocity or whatever other. There's so many nuances that could come into this thing that maybe you just don't have the right combo in your gun.
Yeah, I could tell. That's the correct way to go about this, Jared, and I might do it.
Right.
But I kind of also know me.
Right.
And I'm probably just going to keep shooting the fast steel 4 steels.
Fair enough.
But you're right. That is, if anyone's listening, if you're having a problem like this, Jared is giving the correct advice. I am lazy and slightly superstitious when it comes to this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. No, I think everyone has.
But you're right. I'm curious. I wonder if the pattern's being held too tight.
Yeah.
And when I would normally hit,
yeah,
I'm slightly missing.
Yeah. That's what I think. I think that's where you're at right now.
Yeah. I am curious. I think I will pattern them after the season. I think I will, because just at a bare minimum, out of curiosity of what the heck is happening.
Yeah.
And I also kind of want to pattern those upland fast steels. I'm curious what they're doing at different distances. And I have a bunch that, I mean, I'm not going to shoot those bosses or those upland fast steels because that's where my brain is right now. But
right.
I have a lot of the regular quote unquote waterfowl fast steel that I can run a few through. No worries. So right. I've been stocking up on that for a long time. Anyhow, did that kind of cover what I did? Yeah, I don't think there's much else. Bridget was a little rock star. My brother's labs were awesome. He has 2 yellow labs. One, I think I've talked about before, she is getting up there in age, and every hunt's like, maybe this is her last, and she kind of doesn't she takes it easy, and she had a great retrieve on the first or second bird, I can't remember, but a great long retrieve. The other dogs ran out there, and the bird was still was winged, and it was like partially winged, partially like it wasn't completely just a wing, like it was down, it wasn't going anywhere, but it was flapping around and kicking. And Bridget and his other lab were like, I don't know if I want to reach in there and grab it. And then his old dog just ran in, grabbed it, ran right back to my brother, and we put it in his hand. It was pretty beautiful.
That's pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Let's watch the old dog show him what's that. Like, she's like, you just grab this thing. Don't worry about it. Anyhow, yeah, I think that was my situation. How about you, Jared? What'd you get up to?
So I think I've had three hunts, 2.5, something like that. Anyways, so the first one was checked out a new spot that I hadn't been to. Checked it out, and it was super thick, super thick. And it was I think it had just rained, but it was kind of like that really wet, kind of everything was damp, and completely soaked through my boots. So I'm working on looking at getting some new gear right now. But anyway, soaked through my boots. But ended up getting quite a few quail. But again, it was really, really thick where we were at. So the first group we got into didn't get anything out of it just because of where they're flying. But towards the end, I was able to get into some quail again. Again, super thick, but we had a couple that decided to zig when they should have zagged. And I got one. And kind of like one, like you said, kind of like this shot where you're just like, it's down. I know it's down. And I kind of marked it myself. Bones isn't the greatest at marking yet. But I marked it, kind of walked over to the general area, saw where a feather had dropped, and it just kind of pointed to where, the quail was at. And I said, hunt dead. Bones ran in there, was in there for a little bit. I think I posted it on Facebook and I think Instagram too, of him grabbing the quail, just running in there, grabbing it, bringing it back. It was, that was pretty awesome. Um, did that one. I ran in a couple more quail, but didn't end up getting a shot. So just one, which wasn't bad. I was pretty excited about just how he's been doing and stuff like that. Then I had like a real quick hunt, kind of like one of those hunts where just like everything that could have gone wrong kind of like went wrong, I guess.
Oh no.
I brought so I have two guns right now. Actually, I have more than that, but the two that I main hunt is I have an 1148 that I refinished that's got an improved cylinder choke and semi-auto. And I decided to take that. Um, and been thinking about like shotguns a little bit in the last little bit, and like just in general, and like hunting with a dog, and some stuff has changed, with hunting with a dog over hunting by myself. Anyways, it was kind of stuff I was thinking about, but I was like, no, it'll be fine. So, anyways, ended up getting into some pheasants, and but these pheasants were flushing again because I'm hunting with a dog now and not by myself. When I was by myself without a dog, if I flushed a bird, the bird is going to flush by my feet, because of some, whatever you want to call it. The bird's going to be close. So the improved cylinder choke typically worked out for me pretty well in a single barrel gun. But Bones is typically 20 yards, 15, 20 yards ahead of me anyways. So anyways, he ended up flushing a pheasant. It was easy shot, fired nothing. And I'm like, well, that's crap, kind of thing. I was like, well, shit, I should have hit that one. And then I realized that I actually blew the bead off my gun.
Whoa.
So it had a fiber optic. Whoever had it before me put a fiber optic bead on it, and I blew the fiber optic bead off of it. I don't like fiber optics anyways, but anyways, so I ended up getting another pheasant, and just completely I think I feathered that one, but couldn't find it. And it was just kind of like, this is absolute, just kind of like, well, I was done anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm shooting like crap right now, so I need to go back. And I'm going back, and then Bones ended up finding up some little Tweety birds, and just chased these Tweety birds to his heart's content, up and down a field for a while. And because it was pretty windy, I don't think he could hear me yelling at him. So that was kind of one of those hunts where I was just like, well, this one didn't work out in my favor at all. And then today I went out and decided I was like, I'm going to bring the 870, put the mod choke in it, and shooting Kent number fives, bismuth number fives, and we were out there for a while. I think I flushed a couple coveys of quail, but I think I was singularly focused on pheasants today, so I didn't shoot, because I was like, I'm looking for pheasants, I'm not looking for quail today. Well, the one pheasant I ended up flushing two pheasants, one hen, and then I flushed one pheasant, and it was a pheasant that like I could have shot, but had I shot it, I would never have recovered that bird. It flushed across the river. I was above it when it flushed, because it flushed out of some cattails that I was above. And if I would have hit it, and I'm pretty sure I would have hit it based on its angle and stuff like that, because I would have to walk probably 45 minutes to get around to where that bird would have landed.
No. Yeah.
I would never have, there's no way I would have found that bird. So that was, I did end up at the end of the day after that, I was like, I'm going to shoot some quail. And then I proceeded to miss two quail. So those were kind of my little hunts. Bones has gotten something in his eye. I've tried to flush it out a couple times now. He's not a huge fan of me flushing his eyes out.
They usually aren't.
So we have to take little breaks here and there just to see. It seems like it's okay now. I'm going to try again to flush it out a little bit more before he goes to bed. But we're looking at getting some rec specs for him.
Yeah.
But on a plus side, Bones is getting. He's starting to figure out cover a little better now. He's really doing the digging deep into cover, running through cattails and stuff like that, and really getting into it. And then he's starting to. I'm assuming it's just based on my expert dog training abilities is how he's done it. But I've now gotten to the point where I kind of, you kind of look at those covers that are kind of like, I think there might be some birds in here, but it's really, really thick. And so now I can kind of stand by it and just point at it, and Bones will run through it.
Oh, that's great.
So that's pretty cool. I will attribute that 100% to my dog training abilities, and has nothing to do with Bones as a dog being able to figure shit out. But he's doing good. Like he's exhausted right now because he runs around all the time while we're hunting and stuff like that. But yeah, he's doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited about him. But yeah, it has some gear things that I've been kind of debating and thinking about in the last little bit, and trying to figure out what I need to get for next year and the upcoming season and stuff. So
for Bones or for you or both?
Both.
What are you thinking? Let's talk this through.
So I think he needs rec specs.
Yeah.
Get some, like I said, he like the way he busts through cover and stuff like that. I think it's going to be, like I said, he's got stuff in his eye right now. It seems like it's cleared up, but it's twice now that I've had to like flush his eyes out and stuff like that. So I think that might be a good idea to get him that. I need to work on, I think I need to get some different boots. I'm a Solomon guy. Been a Solomon guy for a very long time. But I've soaked through my Solomons twice now in the last couple of weeks. And it's not a fun experience when your feet are completely soaked in water.
Yeah.
So I might need to do some different boot situations and some new some pants, and then I think I'm kind of in a shooting slump right now. So I am obviously thinking about buying again because that'll fix everything. So
you should use my 12 gauge since I'm not using it, my new one.
That's true.
Maybe change it up. See if you like the over under.
I could, yeah. That's true.
I'm attached to the 20 gauge right now, so I'm planning on using that 12 gauge for some trap,
right,
and some skeet in the off season, and going from there. But I'm kind of addicted to the 20 gauge right now. In fact, all I do right now, not all I do, but I'm often on websites looking at other 20 gauges because the one I love right now just isn't quite enough. Of course.
No, it's not. And that's fair, and that's why, and it kind of comes back to like, thinking about like different stuff, and like I've had my 870 now for 14 years.
Yeah.
It is well used, well taken care of, but it's well used. So I kind of know that gun kind of inside and out right now. Like It's pretty intuitive, but like I said, going through kind of a slump right now. And thinking, I was like, I might need to maybe see what this over and under thing is all about, since that seems to be what a lot of guys seem to be shooting now, is over and under. So,
well, when you brought up, this is obviously true, but something I don't think about as someone who shot an over under since I was 14 or 13, whenever I first started shooting a shotgun. But like you said, my semi-auto has one like improved cylinder choke, and I'm like, only one choke, man.
Yeah.
Like how do you deal with that? I don't know. I've always thought about the two chokes and the options of the double barrel, so it's hard to get my brain around the one choke.
It has, because like I said, I've done the thing where it's just like I've changed chokes midway through like hunt days and stuff like that, because I'm like, clearly this improved cylinder isn't working for me today, so I need a modified choke, and I switch it, and then inevitably that's when you get like a bird that's at like 10 yards, which is fine with the modified choke and stuff like that. And a lot of it is probably like overthinking it on my part.
Oh sure, yeah. So no, it's just playing with your brain too, like.
True.
I changed it. Okay, everything, I could shake off everything that just happened. I mean, that happens in sports where you're like, for golfing, you change your club up, you change something just to tell yourself that something changed, so you can get your brain out of the spiral of, oh my God, I suck. What's going on?
And I think, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is just like I've missed I missed some easy shots the last couple days, and I got into my head a little bit. So I need to kind of figure out how to do that. I do have a 20 gauge 870. Now that I think about it,
Oh yeah.
I do have a 20 gauge 870. I don't know if I have any 20 gauge shells for my 870, but I do have a 20 gauge 870.
Well, you can take care of the shell situation, but
True.
yeah, no, I mean, hey, I'm a fan of 20 gauges, so I'm on board with that.
True.
Um,
But I know we talked about maybe doing a hunt this weekend
yeah,
together. So maybe you might need to bring your 12 gauge, and maybe I'll carry that for a little bit,
let's do it.
least to get out of my head a little bit. Maybe that'll help. I don't know what I'll do when I pull the trigger twice, but we'll see.
You're either gonna, well, I guess you have the semi-auto, and so you're either gonna try to pump it,
True.
or I remember when I bought the 870 a while ago. I don't know, Jared, how old was I? Maybe in my mid-20s or so.
I
I
remember that
like
one.
870, just like yours. I like that gun. I remember the first time you and I went out, and
Mhm.
I hit some birds with it. I was like, all right, I like this gun.
Yeah.
I think I ended up selling to my brother, but yeah, I remember the first time I shot it, I pulled the trigger a second time and nothing happened. I was like, oh, I gotta pump it. And then I'm still not used to pumping that. I like would short stroke the pump, like I wouldn't give it the full stroke and it'd get jammed. I'm like, this is dumb. I just want to pull the trigger twice. Um,
Yeah.
but then I got used to it and I went back to my over under and I tried to pump the over under. So
I mean,
just
I've tried to pump, but I think it's kind of funny, like like when you talk about like when you start off and stuff like that when you're a little kid and stuff. Like I'm assuming you started out the same way I did when you got a shotgun, which is a 20 gauge single shot, right?
20 gauge single shot break action. Yep.
Yep, that's what I started with too. Um, Oddly enough, I never shot anything with that gun, but that's what I started with. And then I graduated to Remington 870, not the one I currently have, but
Right.
another. Um, and so that was my shotguns for pump actions. Um, and so that's what I've gravitated toward since then is just pump actions and stuff like that, especially 870s. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, like I used to look at my dad and my grandpa, and I think my uncle had one too when we go hunting, and they all had pumps. My dad still has a beautiful Wingmaster from like
mhm,
probably the 70s or 80s, probably the 70s. It's a gorgeous gun. And
mhm.
I have my grandpa's guns now, but that was like a Winchester Ranger. I forgot my uncle had, but like a pump shotgun in my head, that's a shotgun. And then unbeknownst to me, when I was about 13, I'd passed hunter safety and was going to be hunting the next season. It was like the end of that season,
Mhm.
and my dad and uncle went to some hunt club up north of us somewhere, and I think
Uh-huh.
they ran a puppy on some birds up there, and some like planted birds. If I think my uncle got like a GSP or something. Anyhow, at the end there was like a trap range, and we were shooting some trap, and I'd never shot a shotgun before, and
Mhm.
my dad had it was the 12 gauge Meraki uh, over under that I have now. He goes, I have this gun. I'm like, I've never seen this gun before. He's like, yeah, I don't shoot it well. It doesn't fit me right or something. But you once you try it, and I hit like, first time shooting a shotgun, I hit like, I felt like about half the clays. It probably wasn't that. It was probably one or two. It was enough for me to be
Sure.
like, oh, I like this. I'm good at this. And my dad and uncle were smart enough to compliment me and see how good my shooting was. My brain was just like, this gun works. And I shot that gun, and that Christmas I got a vest from my other uncle, and I had those two things until a couple years ago when I got my new Final Rise and this 20 gauge. But like I use those the entire time, so like my brain is like over under is a shotgun. I don't see myself ever not having an over under
Sure.
for all of those reasons. But up until that point, when I shot that one, I knew double barrel guns existed. I don't think I had ever seen one before that. I had only seen pumps, walnut
Right.
and blue steel pumps. I don't think I
Yeah.
ever saw semi-auto, but
Yeah, so like I think it's kind of like an interesting kind of like when you people start out with like their whatever they start out with, they seem to always kind of still kind of gravitate towards. Um, Like I still have like a soft spot for single shot over and under, like single shots. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, it's just like it's always like when I was a kid and stuff like that. And granted, we didn't really bird hunt. We bird hunted, but not really. Like we just hunted birds. You know, we didn't have dogs and stuff like that. So it was like we just go out and you know
Yeah.
walk around with shotguns a lot of the time. Honestly, not that there's anything wrong with that. I did that today. Um, but that's nostalgia for you. But anyways,
Mhm.
it's just kind of interesting, like how kind of like that's what you're still kind of drawn towards. Like my
Yeah.
dad talked about like semi-autos, and they're like, ah, semi-autos always jam and stuff like that. And like he now shoots a semi-auto. By the way, he shoots a Beretta A300, but whatever.
Right.
Um, but that's whatever. But anyways, it's just kind of interesting, like to see how every like your stuff changes and stuff like that as you get older and stuff like that. Now I kind of want an over and under and a side by side, and I don't know, there's probably a couple other ones I want to, but
Well, I think hunting, and I'm just going to say bird hunting, it's a nostalgic thing. It's a yearning back to, for a lot of us who hunted as a kid, back to those feelings you had in the falls and winters when you were a kid
Mhm.
around Thanksgiving and Christmas and going out in the wild and doing that with a dad or an uncle or grandpa or some, whoever it was in your life did that. Um, and for other folks, and maybe the same folks too, it's going back to a tradition that we don't have in our daily lives as much.
Sure.
Like we don't, back in the day, 100 years ago or more, you were out in the wilderness a lot more, just as your average person. You were more agricultural based for a long time, or but nowadays you're not. Like most of us are in cities and suburbs, and we don't see a lot of that. So for us to go out and do that, I think there's a lot of nostalgia. And my theory is that it trips something in our brain to like go to what we're familiar with that gives us that rush of nostalgia. And to your point, it's that gun, the type of dog you have. Like some people really like to get out there and try new things
Hmm.
in upland hunting. I want a different breed. I want to try a different gun. I want to go to a different place with different people. But I think a lot, if you talk to them, I think a lot of them would be like, man, I really do love going and chasing that bird I chased as a kid or when I first started with the gun I had and all those things.
Yeah.
Um, and the beauty of hunting is that's okay. In work life and your education and all these things, like you can't stay the same. You got to keep improving. Like you're pushed to improve. Businesses are pushed to improve. But
Yeah.
with this hobby, with this sport, you can stay the same if you want, and that's great, and that's totally cool, and you can have a fulfilled time in as a hunter.
Yeah. But like you said, there's also something to be said of like, making a little change here and there and stuff like that, trying out something
Oh
new,
yeah,
trying a different bird and stuff like that, or
yep.
different, or I wouldn't say different dog, but you know,
You can have both, right? Like you can go
but
on a hunt in a different state, and you can check out a new gun, and you can do all those things. But the next hunt, the next weekend or week or whatever,
yeah,
can be in your old favorite spot with your favorite dog and your favorite gun and your favorite truck and all the things.
yeah, true. Or your favorite Subaru Forester or whatever like that if we don't have a
Favorite
truck.
Subaru Forester. Hey,
Yeah.
no, more people need to get on the Subaru Forester and Outback Crosstrek like world for like how I have an F-150, but how often do I need the F-150?
Yeah.
Really? Could I before that I had an Outback, before that I had another Outback. Could my Outback do what my F-150 does most of the time? If not all the time, yes. So
Yeah.
did it get the same gas mileage? Yeah, it did. So it doesn't really matter that much in that aspect, but
That's right.
it is thinner to get into areas. I've scratched my truck going into places because it's a little too wide for the road. So,
That's true. What you need to do is get a Subaru Forester you don't care about. And
well, I just saw that my aunt, she's not listening, but she's selling I'm not sure. It must have a problem. It's like a 2012 or 14 Outback for like $1,000 or something. I forgot what she had it listed for. Something cheap, and I'm
that
like, well, something's wrong with it. Otherwise, that's a great hunting rig right there.
that's a bird hunting rig right now. I have a 2000 was what 2013, 2012, no 2012. I have a 2012 Subaru Forester. Um, yeah, thing is a tank.
No.
Yeah.
People need to get into the Subarus. I know there's like a cultural thing around it. We don't have to get into that, but people, like
Yeah.
gun owners and Subaru owners, usually there's not a lot of crossover, but there is for you and I, Jared. Like that is a crossover for us.
That's right.
Now I'm looking to see what she's selling this for. You can make a purchase on the podcast.
I mean, I think that would be it. That'd be a pretty nice little bird hunt rig.
I can just sell my truck then. I don't need it.
I mean, that's also true, but it's also
maybe it's already sold at that price. I mean,
yeah,
there must be something wrong with it.
Probably.
I'll have to check. I think my sister sent it to me. I think she knows I'm kind of looking for something for one of the kids, but I can't find it now. But yeah, no, I'm glad we got to the topic of Subarus. If you're out there listening, you're cringing to this. You have not driven a Subaru. Like they get it done, and I don't know, they really, really do. And honestly, like they're expensive right now because they're new, but someday they won't be as expensive as the wilderness trim ones, like the Wilderness Crosstrek or the Outback and Forester. I'm not sure if they made the other ones in that yet, but
no, just those three.
Just those three. Yeah, like they have higher clearance than my stock Lariat F-150. Barely, but they have a higher clearance, ground clearance. The all-wheel drive, the symmetrical all-wheel drive in Outbacks. At least I'm speaking because I've had two Outbacks. I had a 16 and a 21. I don't think I ever got stuck. I was in a blizzard in Idaho, or no, I guess it was in Oregon, driving home from Idaho once. And the snow got deep real fast on the highway. I was one of the only cars out there. I even had to stop at a rest area because I had to stop for a bio break. And I was like, well, I might get stuck. I'm parking here. And I parked in a spot where I'm like, this is my best chance to keep driving. I'm going to trudge through the snow and go to the bathroom. And I got back thinking, there's no way this car's in and just rolled right out of it. Just got on the snow, got on the highway and went. I went hunting in those cars. Like those.
Oh, yeah.
The all-wheel drive system in Subarus is something else. And people need to, I mean, that's a great rig. Unless you really need to be hauling something. If you're hauling trailers and stuff, obviously you're going to need to get a pickup or something like that. But
true.
Man, those more bird hunters who just have a couple dogs, because you can fit two intermediate roughlins to give you an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I know this isn't for a fact. You can fit two intermediate roughlins in the back of a modern Outback.
You are about tapped out for space, though. I will say that.
At that point, you are tapped out. Like you have your back seat that you could fold down, or you could put your guns in your back seat, which is what I used to do.
Yeah.
If it's just you and two dogs, and you want two intermediate kennels, if that works for you, that will work. If it's just you. If you're bringing a buddy along, it's
starts getting tight.
Yeah, that's going to start getting kind of tight. I don't know. Are you aware of the Subaru badge of ownership?
I am.
Okay. Did you ever do it?
I didn't, because this is still the Subaru. I've only had the Subaru for a little while.
Okay.
So I haven't got it. I haven't got one yet.
I did it for my first two. I never actually put them on the car because it was kind of weird. Like I see them around town. I'm like, you actually put it on your car. And then I realized I probably shouldn't have put it on mine because that was my mindset. But they're fine. If you put it in your car, that's cool. But the badges you can get, like, I'm like, I don't want any of these. Like, there's the dog one. I want that one.
Sure.
There's a dog paw. But there's no hunting. There's no guns. No birds. There's like bird watching. Like, there's literally binoculars in the bird. I'm like, well, that's not me.
True. I mean, kind of it. You kind of do a little bit, but.
I mean, I watched it for a second, then I pulled the trigger.
True. Still bird watching.
Still bird watching.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching birds in my backyard. I do. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe that's the anti-crime. I'm glad this became the Subaru episode. This is unexpected and great.
Like
I wish that shows like there's no crossover between the hunting bird dog upland world and Subaru. Like, I think there's a fly fishing one and a fishing one, and it drives me absolutely insane that like it's more socially acceptable to be like fly fishing, and when you're a bird hunter, it's like, oh, that's kind of gross. Why are you killing animals? Like, you get that more off. But it's like, okay, These are both essentially reptiles. One swims in the water with scales, one
Right.
flies in the air with feathers. I think their brains are the same.
Fair. That's
Like
yeah.
same enough. You know what I mean? Like they're the same level of consciousness in the world of
Yeah.
animals, in my opinion. Fish and birds and reptiles.
Sure. No, I feel like that's fair. Um, I do have a funny story. It's not about a Subaru.
Okay.
It's it's about a Mitsubishi though.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so my previous car was a Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. So same kind of general size as a Subaru Crosstrek.
Yeah.
Uh, and this is when I was living in it. When I was living in Arizona, and it was a 2-wheel drive. But anyways, um, that was my car. So because I hunt, that was also the car I hunted out of. So I'm in Arizona, and at the time I was looking for a. It was in August, so I was before uh, dove season. So I was checking some desert tanks, basically looking for water in tanks and stuff like that. Um, so I ended up getting up on this hill, driving through this desert, horrible desert 2-track trail kind of thing. And I get up on this hill, and I end up running into two guys deer hunting, because it was I think archery season, and they were glassing. And I was like, I got out and I was like, hey guys, I apologize, I didn't know you guys were up here. Um, I was just scouting for tanks. And the guy was like, I don't care, but how did you get up here? And I was like, I was like, is there another trail up here, or how did you get up here? Because the only trail up there was ridiculous to get up there. I was like, no, I just took my car. And he was like, I don't take my truck up here, man.
Hmm.
Um, I leave my truck and I just take my side by side. And I was like, well, I don't know, man. I get it up here. And he was like, he was like, it kind of like, you could just kind of like looked at him. He just was like, man, that's just, I can't even imagine. He was like, it's all-wheel drive, right? And I was like, no, it's 2-wheel drive. And it was like, you just saw the look of just kind of like, he was just like, just, just rejection, I think, of just kind of like, man, I spent all this money on the side by side, and you're out here in a 2-wheel drive car and got in the same spot I got. Um, but just kind of a funny story that sometimes it's about just how you can drive over what you're actually driving.
True. That is important. Yeah. Like we were my wife has a it's a Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe. Does that
It's
make
elect.
sense? So
It's not a.
electric.
It's not a.
Okay.
It's
We can
Jeep in name only.
it's capable.
That's
Um, Now, okay, I was gonna get into the story, but first, electrified Jeeps have a lot of torque, and when you're off-roading, that torque is really important.
that's true.
And it supplements the gas. It works as a hybrid. It's a plug-in electric hybrid, and they supplement each other. And you have options. This is actually really cool. They did this. You can run electric only, you can run hybrid, or you can do e-save, which is just gas only, like saving
Hmm.
your electric battery, right? So you can
Sure.
pick what you want to do as you drive and mess with that. It's actually kind of fun because you can, like, if we're just making a short trip, it has like a 25 or 30-mile range on the electric battery, right, per charge. So charge it
Uh,
overnight, plug in the 110, charge it overnight, it's full charge. And then we live in a relatively small town, things are close. And so that kind of gets the errands done, right? You don't have to put gas in your car. But on a trip, you put it in hybrid, and then you get your gas mileage. Anyhow, we were somewhere. There is okay. This is weird because this is what we do. But there was a wildfire somewhere, and we wanted to go be a looky loo and see this wildfire. Not get in the way of emergency responders. We're up away from it, but we wanted to see it from a distance. We heard it was really big, and we're like, well, we're out doing something. Like, let's go see if we can see it from here up on this hill. And uh, there's this dirt road. I'm like, well, you're in your Jeep. She's driving. I'm like, let's go down here. She's driving. And then we see it. I'm like, oh yeah, there's the fire. They're fighting it. Okay, cool. Let's leave. And we kind of loop. The road loops up, but it gets into like deep rut sand, right?
hmm
And she's no experience in driving anything like this, whereas I would take them out back and stuff like that and get through because I have experience in it.
Right.
And I'm trying to tell her what to do, and she's like just hearing it wrong and in the ruts, and I'm like thinking, well, we're done. I'm gonna have to dig this damn thing out. There's a fire encroaching on us at some point. I don't think it's gonna get up here, but that's something.
Yeah.
And no, it got through it. I said, just stay on the gas, power through. She powered through it. It was throwing dust and dirt everywhere. It was a mess. And she was like, we're never doing that again. Like, all right. But exactly, that's a capable vehicle.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, luckily it was capable enough for her to get out. But if we weren't in a Wrangler, I don't know what would have happened there.
I will say my favorite part about that story is that she heard you wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure I said it perfectly. I was yelling.
And it's no, 100%. She heard you wrong. No, she didn't understand. I completely understand what you're saying.
She heard me wrong. I was like, get out of the ruts. And she heard, I don't know what she heard. I think she was just freaking out. Like, I was like, first I said, okay, you can't just stop. When I see it coming up. We can't go back. I'm like, you can't stop in this. You got to keep moving. Okay. Put it in 4-wheel drive. I don't know how. Like, all right, we put it in 4-wheel drive. Like, this is a mall Jeep, right?
It's a mall crawler, yeah, 100%.
It does have I don't know how big those wheels are. There's some big wheels and thin sidewalls, and it looks funny on the Jeep to me because I'm thinking a Jeep, like off-roading. But it looks cool if you want like a cool looking mall crawler. Like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
That was my only concern driving there. I'm like, man, we got thin little sidewalls and these big black wheels. We'll see what happens. It was fine.
Yeah.
I was going with that. Oh yeah, I know that story. Yeah, it's just you don't. I think a lot of people have probably too much vehicle, but then also, going back to original point or first point, when I was a kid, when I went hunting, what did I do? I was in my dad's Ford truck, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm driving my Ford truck out to go hunting, it hits me right in those same feels as it does shooting my over under or all those things. Like,
True.
Nostalgia thing, like, it feels good going, even though it's a Ford. I went out in one that was a 1979 Ford truck, and mine's a whatever it is, 2018 or whatever. Like, it's a very different vehicle, but seeing that blue oval on there is like, yeah. If it was a Chevy bow tie or a Toyota emblem,
sure.
Nothing against those rigs, it wouldn't hit me the same.
See, I think you lost me on that one, but I think that was because I hunted when I was a kid, and I think this is part of why I hunt with whatever vehicle I have. We hunted out of a Ford Aerostar van.
Yeah, I get it.
So there's no nostalgia with one of those.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with a Ford Aerostar van, but
Heck no.
Not exactly the epitome of hunting rigs back then. But
yeah. No, I keep thinking I'm gonna have this truck for a while, but it's like guns, right? You're always like, what's my next rig gonna be? And for a little bit, I'm like, I don't need the full size. I think I'm gonna go mid size. I don't have a boat. I don't have an RV. I don't haul anything. I probably never will. I have no interest. So like, I don't need the full size. It's nice having the space. It is, but it is nice on road trips with like the teen age kids, like you got lots of space in the back of that, the 4-door and whatnot. Like once the kids are grown and gone, I probably still have my truck. I'm going to get something else eventually. Like, well, maybe a Tacoma or a Ranger, that size might be good. But then honestly, out like the wilderness Outback or whatever their, off-road trim is at that time.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the way I go, depending on how many dogs I have.
True.
And what dogs I have. Like, who knows what that will be. It could be a lab. It could be a cocker. That would be the difference, right? If I have springers and labs or springers and cockers, it's like that decides car size.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's fun to think about.
It is. Good stuff.
Anyhow, anything else for the podcast this week, Jared? Do we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we hit about everything,
and more.
Yeah. Kind of went down some tangents, but that's not bad. And then, yeah.
Got to talk Subis. That's good.
Yeah.
I have a deep affection for Subarus. I think if you don't, you're either hot take. Which is why if you have a podcast, you're not making hot takes. What are you doing?
True.
If you don't have some sort of affection for Subarus, you either have never driven one, or you're blinded by misconceptions about them, because They are great rigs. The only downside is they don't get the good gas mileage you should get out of a car that size, but that's because their all-wheel drive system's so good.
My Subaru is sitting at 21 miles per gallon right now.
That's about, see, what did my last one have? It had the 2.4 liter turbo, like the bigger horsepower engine. It had like 270 horses.
Sure.
And it would get like 20
Yeah.
on a good day.
Mine's a naturally aspirated 2.4 liter four cylinder with a 4-speed automatic.
Yeah.
Wish it was a stick, but whatever.
Well, whatever. It's a Subaru. Who cares? I mean, it would be kind of fun to stick. Mine both had the CVTs, which everyone complains about. I do not. I like the CVTs.
But if you want to go down some fun rabbit holes, go look at lifted Subarus.
Yeah.
Still not convinced that I'm not going to lift mine. So.
Oh man, that'd be fun.
Yeah, we will see. But it's
Yeah.
a lift looks like it might happen in the future.
Well, the middle-age crisis person in me, because I'm almost 40 now, and you got to have those sports car thoughts. I'm not sure if this is a different. We don't have to get in this topic. We're both millennials, right? I guess we're Zennials, like Gen X.
I'm older than you,
technically, by like a year, right?
Yeah, I'm already 40, so like
you're already 40. I'm 30. I'll be 40 in January. Okay.
My midlife crisis hasn't started yet because apparently my wife says I'm supposed to live to 100. So.
Oh, so you're not there? Okay.
I'm not there yet. So
not there yet. No, but like there's always the sports car is the midlife crisis, right? I don't know if that's what our generation's into. It's something else. Maybe it looks like people like traveling a lot more, or I don't know, doing something different with their lives that way, more service type stuff, experience type stuff. But True. Put that aside. If it was cars, and think of the coolest car when we were in high school, not the coolest, but one of the cooler cars when we were in high school that was new at the time, not like a classic car, was like the WRX STI, right?
So yeah, but for me, that's not the car. For me, it's the Pontiac. It's the Pontiac. It's not the Firebird. No, it is the Firebird. It's the Pontiac Firebird with the WS6 package. It had that.
Yeah, it was the yellow with the black things on 2002.
So yeah, it was
Firebird Trans Am WS6. Yeah.
Yeah, but it had the hood that had the 4 basically nostrils in the front.
Yep.
And I think it had
I love that car too. I loved it in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely obnoxious. But I love that car. But a WRX STI, absolutely.
So I'm just saying, like that, like it's fair to say, I'm with you on the Trans Am WS6.
Yes.
And that was the last one they made, right? 2002. So, but like, it's fair to say the STI was kind of like, that's in the upper echelon of cool cars that were new at the time for a high school person to be into at that point. So if the midlife crisis plays out into a sports car, get rid of the truck and get an Outback Wilderness.
True.
And the WRX STI, which they don't make right now, but they probably will again soon. But they have like did you know they make a WRX GT kind of in its stead right now, but it's an automatic CVT only.
Yes. You got to go like the 6-speed. But see, like
you have to get it. You have to.
You have to think about is like we also grew up when Fast and the Furious was a thing.
Yeah.
So it's a Nissan Skyline.
Ooh, well, yeah, I've seen so many of those around. Okay, this turned to a car podcast now. Yeah, Skyline. Well, I was 16 when Fast and Furious came out. It means you were 17. Like I'm driving. It was one of the first times I drove to a theater, like on my own, to like go see a movie with my friends, and it was to see Fast and the Furious. Like, yeah, definitely lives inside of us. No matter how much we like or dislike the movie now or whatever, like that's in a lot of us from that era. All right, Jared, I think we've swayed way too far from go flash yourself here, but I'm not against it. Hopefully some of our listeners can relate to some of this.
Yeah. This took a turn. That's okay.
It took a turn. That's okay. Yeah, it is okay. We're in between guests right now, so these conversations can go where they go, and this is where they went. We got to Nissan Skylines.
Right. Epitome of rigs, apparently.
It's true. All right, everyone. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said it is all-wheel drive, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
That car is okay. Well, that car is also going away. The current GTR. It's like on this last year. So sad. I'm sure they'll replace it. Hopefully they replace it. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We got really far away from the main topic matter here, but that's okay. That's what podcasts are for. Until next time, we'll see you all later. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Go Flush Yourself podcast. Check us out on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We also have a Patreon, where for a $2 a month subscription, you can help keep our podcast on the air. We also have merchandise available. Please check out the podcast description or the Patreon page for links to merchandise.